Hey guys, it's your girl Tishay. Welcome to my channel. In today's video we're going to be delving straight into the recently released premiered video of course, Crazy in Love, our famous CHRISEAN and Blue, who finally give us the opportunity to get some kind of scoop into their love life. So I'm definitely going to be taking you through the first episode of this show. So if this is something you're very much interested in, please go ahead to smash that subscribe button and let's delve right in. All right, so let's begin with how I feel about this first episode of the show, Crazy in Love. To be honest, I like to think that the beginning of this episode was very dragged, very sluggish, but then I like to think that the show gradually gained momentum towards the end. Okay, so in general the show wasn't that bad, but at the same time, let me just say the hype didn't really equate at the very beginning. Into the main event, the show actually started with a Never Have I Ever game between Sean and of course Blueface. And I have to say some reveals were made during this game. So let's talk about, first of all, the fact that CHRISEAN claimed that she never cheated on anyone, which of course indirectly says that she didn't or never cheated on Blueface, because the question was thrown at her by Blueface on whether or not she had ever cheated whilst being in a relationship with her partner, and she of course answered no. Now not to dwell too much on this, but let me know in the comment section if you actually believe that CHRISEAN did say the truth. Because if we all know, for those of us who are CHRISEAN and Blueface's online relatives who have been following their love timeline, like, we already know that there has been a lot of scandals on both parties cheating on each other. So let me know in the comment section if you actually believe that. Another spicy reveal that was made from CHRISEAN was basically a confirmation or an assurance to Blue that if for any reason Blue got disrespected by her father, that she was definitely going to assist him in beating up her father. And I was like, what? Now, before we continue, can we let's just take a minute to talk about CHRISEAN's nudity in the beginning of this episode. Like, CHRISEAN didn't have a problem with having her titties out. She was extremely comfortable with the fact that her boobs were all loose, even though she definitely had a jacket on. But that level of confidence and comfortability with having your titties out is just something that I'm still yet to discover, to be honest. So not to dwell so much on this, but let's talk about the mini wedding ceremony that was held at a jacket store for Blueface and of course CHRISEAN. And this was definitely officiated by the store seller. Of course, Blueface was the one that urged it, but seriously, I want us to really dwell on the fact that Sean got emotional having a fake vow exchanged at a jacket store. How weird can this couple get? Next thing is kind of like a runway rehearsal scheduled for Sean and Blue. And of course, Sean first of all takes the floor. She does her thing, smiles, and is playful about it. And when it's Blue's time, Blue kind of jokes about his walk, definitely, because Blue definitely likes to clown around. So he basically does his strides and makes references to invisible girls on the side, and this of course kind of like irritates Sean, who decides to call the whole walk off. And basically, not too long after, both parties get into some kind of like argument. I wouldn't say both parties got into an argument, because Blue didn't necessarily argue back and all of that. It was basically Sean talking to Blue in a harsh tone, basically calling him out and saying that he was acting fake only because he was in front of the cameras, basically telling him that the way he was acting was not his real self, and she wasn't happy about that. Yeah, I feel like that would have probably escalated past that, but the fact that Blue was able to properly handle the situation and not necessarily respond in the same energy as Sean was what I would feel saved that situation. Let's talk about this guy's being extremely comfortable with the camera, like I mentioned earlier. So at first I thought it was just about the nudity, but it did seem like Blue Sean. I just created a name for them, Blue Sean. Okay, so when you hear me say Blue Sean, just know I'm talking about both parties. So it did seem like Blue Sean had a lot of things in store for us, the viewers, because I mean it when I say I really didn't see it coming when it was displayed on TV, on worldwide TV. This guy is getting comfortable on the bed, extremely comfortable if you ask me, because we saw CHRISEAN giving Blueface a head whilst having a blanket over her head. Like, it was really traumatizing to watch. Okay, so Blue Sean finally get the opportunity to be interviewed by 3 different radio stations respectively. I like to think, I think the first one was a radio station, and the other 2 did seem like it was just a studio, that had probably journalists, I don't know. But yeah, they finally got interviewed by 3 different persons or group of people, and I would just basically treat the most important questions that were asked. So the first to begin with will be Sean being asked how she described the love that existed rather between herself and Blue, because according to the streets, the love they had, some said was hood, others said was toxic, and the rest said was real. Now, according to Sean, she said that the love that existed between herself and Blue was definitely hood, but as well very real. If you ask me, I would say that love was very much 3 in 1. It was very hood and ratchet, it was very toxic, and I want to believe it was also very genuine. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Sean also clarified this topic of her relation being toxic. She basically said that her relationship with Blue wasn't toxic at all, that the fights we had was very normal, that every couple fought in every relationship. She also said, or she was also asked how she felt about her family's input on her toxic relationship, her so-called toxic relationship, and she basically answered to it saying that immediately her brother put word on his opinion of her relationship with Blue, she had to reach out to him and tell him to chill, right? And Blueface, I think, added to that saying that that he basically felt like whatever people said about their relationship was BS. Now, I do feel some type of way about this response, because they probably are saying this right now because definitely they are both in good terms and in a good space. But that wasn't the case very much back then, couple months ago, if I'm not mistaken, when they had their differences. Blueface basically was painting Sean out as toxic and a narcissist, and I want to believe that that was even the same case as for Sean. Sean also, basically put out word that Blueface was fake AF, which is also basically indirectly calling him a narcissist. So directly and indirectly, they have actually shaded their relationship. So it's now time for the fashion week. Blue Sean finally make it out for the show or for the event, and I have to say that event was definitely given. I saw a lot of beautiful outfits, couple beautiful outfits. I wouldn't say a lot, but then I would also say that there were some good appearances, some of which were, of course, Natalie Nunn and Scotty with the body. And yeah, I was actually really, I mean, I didn't expect to see them. And then also these persons, of course, that I mentioned were part of the Runway show, and they did their thing. Blue Sean also did their thing, and I have to say that the Blue Sean couple was looking hella lit in blue, most especially Sean. Sean was looking very dashing in that blue outfit that she wore, and like basically she was looking really, really amazing. All right, so I'm basically gonna try to like summarize this last scene, which, if you ask me, is the highlight of this episode. Unfortunately, I'm trying to keep this video 15 minutes at length, so I'm just gonna like try my best to summarize everything. So basically, this last scene, like I said, had a lot of, it was the highlight of the episode because it had a lot of awkwardness, weirdness, and chaos. And this said descriptions existed between Sean, her family, and Blue, respectively. Now, in this particular last scene of the episode, Blueface was to be introduced to Sean's family. So basically, Sean was taking him over to like introduce him to her family. Now, unfortunately, this didn't go as planned because it did seem like the family wasn't ready to welcome Blueface. Obviously, with everything that had transpired between Blueface and Sean online, any normal family will feel some type of way towards Blueface, and that was exactly the scenario. That was exactly the situation. So apparently, on the first night when Sean was supposed to meet up with her family members, it didn't work out because apparently they left the location because, according to them, Sean had probably kind of like kept them waiting, and they had other things to attend to. Now, that was on the first attempt, right, of trying to like bring Blue over to her family. Now, second attempt, which was the next day, and on that same day, she was to catch a flight to a different city, and she only had like 1 hour to spend in that city, being Baltimore. Now, according to events that transpired on that very day, it did seem like first of all, the family members were very hesitant on coming over to visit or to see Sean where she had been packed in her Sprinter. Now, the first family member that did show up was Tessa, her sister called Tessa, and it was a very heartwarming moment because immediately they met. It was first of all a hug, which of course led Sean to emotionally break down because obviously from the previous night's events up until that very moment, it was a little bit chaotic for her because she had her family members talking to her, like basically telling her that she was young, that she didn't know what she was doing, that she needed to get over Blueface. And all of this conversation was being had on loudspeaker, and of course Blueface was in the same space with her. So it was like a whole lot of awkwardness that she was really trying so hard to deal with. So in that particular moment, I was, for one, really really pleased with the fact that her sister Tessa came with like a positive vibe. And although I'm going to give my take very much later on how short-lived that positive vibe was, but like I was saying, she came with a positive vibe because first meet they hugged, and immediately CHRISEAN broke down into tears. And I saw her sister pray for her. It was like she basically was praying, trying to ward off the negative energy. Now that was good as at that particular point in time, but like I said, that positive vibe she came with was very short-lived, because I saw her go to the bus, and after she got into the bus, she kind of gave Blue a side hug. And I think Blue kind of Blue being a clown that he basically probably was trying to ease the air, and he asked her if she was the one that had taught Sean how to cook. And I didn't get a response from Tessa on that question. She basically shoved the question aside and just responded saying her name was Tessa, and she was CHRISEAN's sister. So basically that alone, that was like the first red flag, right? So I appreciated the fact that she kind of consoled her sister, right? But then I really didn't appreciate the fact that the positive energy I felt, or I thought she had come with, was really short-lived. And moreover, not long after Tessa had even gotten into the bus, she got a phone call from her sister by name Terrain. And it did seem like amongst all the family members, Terrain was the most pissed and uncomfortable about meeting up with CHRISEAN. And probably it was because of the fact that Blue was present in that particular situation. So as I went, Tessa had kind of settled down. Not long after, she got a call from Terrain, who asked her where she was. And when Tessa responded with that she was in the Sprinter with Blue and Sean, Terrain basically started I wouldn't say scold, but her tone was definitely raised, basically asking her why she was there. She wasn't supposed to be there. So it was really really a chaotic moment for CHRISEAN. And I have to say, I really felt disappointed, right? I understand that CHRISEAN's family members felt some type of way towards Blue, but it would have gone a long way if they had kind of been mature about it, because all of what they did in the last scene of the episode was extremely very childish and very immature, if you ask me. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that the family members had a right to act as immature as they did? Do you think that they also had every right to roll over or rub off whatever they were feeling on Sean? Because Sean was basically crying rather all through, from the previous night into the next day, that very day when she was still expecting or hoping to meet her family. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section.